Jodi, thank you for joining us here at the Breast Cancer Wellness Summit. Your story, two-time breast cancer survivor, and through your journey of regaining your health and just a different outlook on life, you decided to go into a healing profession, although you were already in the healthcare profession. So, Jodi, welcome, and I look forward to learning more about your story and your transformation and evolution as a healer.
Thank you, Edna, so much for allowing me to spend time with you today. I really appreciate you reaching out and asking me to join you on your journey. And I'm happy to be here. And again, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for framing it that way, Jodi, because this certainly is part of my journey. I feel blessed to be able to engage and have these conversations because it's both inspiring and healing for me as well. So, Jodi, as you, are now living your life as a healer and a healthcare professional, you are a two-time survivor. Can you take us back to your journey of your diagnoses and to where you are now?
Okay. I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer back in 2002. Um, at that moment, my son was 12 years old. I gave myself, when I got the initial diagnosis, 15 minutes to cry. But I knew, Edna, that I had to do everything that the doctor told me to do because I didn't want my son to be without a mom. I wanted to be sure that I was here to watch him grow, watch myself have grandchildren, watch him go to college, all of those things that a mom and their child want to experience together. And if I left this world at when he was 12 years old, I just don't know what would have become of him. I just wanted to be sure that I did everything that I could to be here.
Jodi, as you regained your strength and your health, how did breast cancer give you a renewed purpose in your life?
Well, it gave me a purpose because I've been in healthcare actually for over 35 years. It did show me that there was a purpose for myself. I didn't want to let my diagnosis determine who I am. I wanted to be that winner. My dad always told me that my sisters and I are all winners, and I wanted to beat cancer. And with that, I just wanted to do everything that I could to beat cancer and then help others beat cancer or actually be their mentor or someone that they can call, talk to if there were any challenges that they may be experiencing.
Well, Jodi, you just tapped into something with me when you're talking about your father's influence and basically him coaching you. I understand that your father was in the professional basketball coaching ranks. And so, just having that type of influence, I'm sure infused you with a certain mentality in your household. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It definitely, again, Edna was a winning type of household. Never lay down, always stand up, always reach as far as you can actually reach for your goals, your health, your life, your family, your job. So, this is what I have done throughout my life. And being diagnosed with cancer, again, I had a few minutes to feel sorry for myself. But then, Edna, I had to win. I had to win and I had to beat cancer. And I feel like that I've done that not one time, but two times.
And when you pull on or you touch on the lifeline of your son, you, I can't even think of any greater inspiration in life. Having a son myself, that was a huge pull and one of the biggest reasons, if not the biggest reason, to open my eyes every morning.
Absolutely. And it was ironic. The second go round, I then had a granddaughter. So she was my light. for the second diagnosis. So now I have my son who's an adult, and now I have my buddy, right, who calls me Nana Jodi. So I had to be sure that Nana Jodi, again, had to be strong and be able to be in survival mode for my granddaughter. And I have a loving husband, had to be sure that I'm here for him as well. I want to be here, all things for all people, right? So I want to be sure that I'm here as they wrap their arms around me and helped me to survive. It was a team effort, going back to the sports analogy, right? It's a team effort now. I have a lot of people on my team and a lot of support to get to that goal, to overcome and beat this battle that so many of us are battling. So many of us have won, and so many of us are in that challenge right now. And I'm here as a mentor as well. If any of our sisters, right? It's a sisterhood. If
Mm-hmm.
any of us need someone to talk to, or need that ear, or just a shoulder to cry on, or to hug, that's why I'm here. And I believe that's my purpose, and that's my winning goal.
Now, Jodi, when you mentioned that you have worked in the healthcare profession for over 20 years, but you actually transformed your healthcare quote unquote practice um, after your diagnosis. Can you share with the viewers and the listeners, and I'm going to say your practical healing journey is, and how you extend that practice to others in what capacity?
Okay. So I've been a masseuse for about 20 years. And back in 2008, I went on a retreat with my girlfriends. And we went out to Sedona and we had massages. And when my massage practitioner, she was doing the massage and she said, I really want to talk to you about something. She said that there's a light around you and I want to do Reiki on you, perform Reiki on you. And she wanted to know if I knew what Reiki was.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, I knew I was a healer. I knew that I had the gift to talk to people. I knew that people would come and talk to me. I loved giving massages, and I was really into meditation and into spiritual activities. So she did Reiki 1 on me at that moment. And then after that, I went to a Reiki practitioner, and then I became Reiki 2. My goal for this year is to become a Reiki master. But what I do now is I infuse my mentoring with breast cancer survivors and people that are experiencing the diagnosis with Reiki, and also with being a masseuse. So I do practice Reiki currently, and also guided imagery, which is something else that someone did on me when I was going through chemotherapy and radiation. So all of these different things that happened in my life helped me to be who I am today.
Now, Jodi, can you take some time and explain what Reiki is? Because a lot of it's out there and it's very um, common, but it's I believe it's something that you have to really be in tune to find your
Yes.
way to that practice or practitioner. So can you take a little bit of time and explain what Reiki is and how it can improve one's health?
Reiki is an energy force, right? So it's not touching, although you can give somebody a massage and kind of infuse Reiki with it. But it's, you put your hands, you use your hands. So this is like Reiki energy. And you can do distance Reiki on someone for healing. You can actually have them in your home and do Reiki on them, and it's healing energy. So you're infusing energy into that person with what you have. And what I have is Reiki 2, a Reiki master is a different level. a Reiki master, I can then do have someone become Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. I can be then a teacher. But right now I'm not a teacher, I'm just a healer. So and that is with the energy of my hands that have already been intuned by a Reiki master.
Mhm. So, Jodi, it sounds like you have most certainly turned your pain into a powerful force for good. Um, how would you encourage other breast cancer survivors to tap into that same power?
Well, everyone's different, Edna. So someone might, their power might be conversation, right? So they might want to have a podcast like yourself, or they might want to go out and go to health fairs and talk. Someone might be shy. So they might want to maybe do something with the children, maybe not with people, but social workers. Maybe they want to tap into children that parents are going through breast cancer. You might want to tap into, if you work in healthcare, you might want to tap into different avenues. What are you doing? What type of healthcare do you work in? Basketball, right? You might want to have forums for camps for children whose mothers are going through breast cancer. So it just depends on the individual, and tap into what your forte is. Tap into what you like to do and go with that. Whatever it is that you like to do, build around that, because there's always somebody out there that has the same interest, and then just go from there.
Jodi, I think that those were great recommendations or suggestions. And, as I was listening to you, it's almost like you are sharing with someone how to find their way into their purpose.
Right.
And I think that breast cancer can be leveraged for that because, it's almost like, you're in that dark night of the storm. And once you come out, it's a whole new life. It's a whole new experience. And you've been through a filter that almost prepares you for this reinvention or this transformation. Would you agree, Jodi?
Absolutely. When you were just sharing that with me, it definitely resonated with me. It actually, if this makes sense, made me a better person.
Mhm.
It made me have more patience. It made me look at the world differently, not take things for granted. Give that hug. Tell people that you love them. Have time for your family, your friends, your job. It really made me who I am today. And I really don't know who I would have been without that diagnosis. I'm not saying that I was a bad person, nothing like that,
Mhm.
but it made me become this strong healer that people come to, whether they need Reiki, whether they need a shoulder to cry on, whether they need a hug. And I'm getting choked up just thinking about it, because it made me be a woman's woman. It made me be able to wrap my arms around a lot of people in the community that may or may not even know me.
Jodi, I think that the compassion, just the depth of the depth of compassion that is cultivated through the experience is extraordinary because the amount of pain, I wouldn't even say embarrassment, confusion, all of those things, it creates a soft spot in us. And I'm going to say it allows us to open our arms to be able to embrace that as well. Those conditions or people who may be in those spaces. What is something unexpected, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, that occurred in your journey that that you'd like to share with all?
I didn't realize, Edna, that I was in a bad marriage. So I realized that when I was going through chemotherapy, and my husband at the time cheated on me when I was going through chemotherapy. So that was very, 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 very painful. My parents were married until my father passed away for 65 years.
Mhm.
So that's what I thought, that I was going to be married for 65 plus years. And unfortunately, I wasn't. But again, what came out of it was a strong woman, a survivor, a winner. And now I have a loving husband who, on my second breast cancer diagnosis, was right there with me every step of the way. And I couldn't ask for a stronger person to be by my side through this life's journey.
That's beautiful. It's incredible how relationships even transform through the journey of going through breast cancer. I think we ferret out some of the bad relationships and the good ones get stronger, and we cultivate new relationships. And
Exactly.
it's you know like you said, the experience, if you really are in tune, is it's a beautiful journey, right? When you when you're able to extract and focus on the good that comes out of it and through the filter of this diagnosis.
Yes.
Jodi, we all know that breast cancer affects us physically, but it also affects us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. How have you been able to rebuild in those other areas, spiritually, emotionally?
And I've been able to rebuild by meditating, um, listening to wind chimes, taking walks on the water, on beaches, listening to birds, just being one with nature, journaling, writing down my feelings, talking to friends if I need someone to talk to. And because I do work in healthcare, really wrap my arms around the patients and the referrals and being sure that they get what they need. So just really being in tune with my feelings and other people's feelings and moving about my life that way.
Thank you, Jodi. Um, so, Jodi, you mentioned that you don't know where you would have been if breast cancer had not happened to you. Do you ever think about that? Like, really, like, ponder what would your life have been like without the diagnosis?
This is really strange, Edna, but I feel like I would have been stuck. I would have been stuck again in a relationship that was not healthy. And if this makes sense, breast cancer made me a healthier person. So I would have been unhealthy, depressed, lonely, isolated. It got to the point to where my friends kind of knew that I was in a rut. So they kind of not left me alone, but knew didn't like my previous relationship, so they didn't want to be bothered. So now I take trips with my girlfriends. We're going to Arizona for a spiritual journey coming up in May. I just would have been stuck, Edna, just stuck where I was, lonely in my house by myself mentally.
It's almost like breast cancer expanded your lot, right? And that's
It
beautiful.
absolutely did.
Thank you for sharing that. Jodi, it takes a lot of strength. I think that it takes time for us to get to the place where we are comfortable in sharing, I'm going to say, the dirty laundry in the journey, right?
Yes.
But how do you think other survivors can really tap into that story, pull out that dirty laundry And not only for, the purposes of sharing to empower others, but honestly and truly, Jody, I believe that in sharing our stories, it's a catharsis. It's healing for us as well.
Right. I think that it will allow every woman, every man, everybody has something that's going on in their life, right? That they don't really like or that's not really going well, whether it's a job or if it's a relationship or if it's eating habits, right? If it's exercising, whatever it is, um, you can tap into that and say, hey, I might need to do 7 to 10,000 steps a day, or I might really need to look into my relationship and see if this is healthy. Am I happy? Is this job rewarding to me? Or am I just going through the motions, clocking in? Am I happy? Is it a job or is it a journey? Or what am I getting out of it? So it really would help you to look into what your needs are, what your wants are, and work around that and kind of achieve those goals. It kind of gives you, again, back to the goals and back to winning, right? It goes back to that. What can I do to achieve this goal? Or how can I be happy? Or look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I happy? And what can I do to get happy, or what can I do to go down a different path to achieve different goals or outcomes?
Jody, you really highlight relationships. And how do you feel like not only did your relationships transform and change and get healthier with your friends and loved ones, but how do you feel like your relationship with yourself changed and became whole?
It really made me stronger. It made me stronger and be able and happier with myself. It made me look at myself and become a stronger person. It made me look at myself and realize what I will and will not tolerate or will and will not do. And really, because in journaling you write things down, I wrote down pros and cons, right? What is good about this, what is bad about that? Really get you to know yourself just by writing things down, looking in the mirror, reflecting,
Mhm.
taking those walks and just looking out into the ocean and being thankful too, really being thankful. And so that's kind of in a nutshell what it came to be.
I think that very few of us think about our relationship with ourselves, right? Like, I don't know if you spend time alone, you speak of meditating, but, you know, that alone time I have found has been like one of the most powerful things in my life, Jody. Like, I absolutely love it. I love the time, the introspection, just the change in perspective that I gained through alone time. Can you identify with that?
Yes, alone time is very important. And alone time doesn't have to be hours or days on end, right? Alone time could be 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It could be 15 minutes of just being with yourself, your thoughts, to iron things out, to sort things out within yourself, or just really just be, just woo-saw, just relax, have a nice cup of tea, and just kind of reflect on your day, reflect on your life, think about the positive things. So you could do all of that in 15, 30 minutes, 2 days a week of alone time. And that's me time is what I call it. Everybody needs some me time.
Thank you so much for taking time out to share your perspective, your insights, your lessons, and also to share some tips that I believe are very valuable and powerful for other survivors.
Thank you, Edna, for having me. This is actually rewarding for me to have conversations with you. I appreciate it. I hope that all of the listeners were able to leave with something that I shared with them today that helps them through their journey. And I appreciate you for allowing me time to speak with you this evening.
I am certain that your words change someone's life.
Thank you.